This training mission follows the procedures described in the flight manual of a real aircraft, adapted for use in the A-4E DCS. Step numbers, when provided, correspond to those of the NATOPS manual and are given. The checklist includes the following sections: before taxi, taxi, before launch, launch, and initial climb. If the cockpit interior is too dark, activate the flashlight with the left Alt-L. If the yellow cross cursor is not visible, press left Alt-Shift-C to make it appear. You can also press spacebar to cut short long texts if you are repeating the mission. Prior to taxiing, you should complete the final checks. On the lower right side of the cockpit, there is a concise checklist to help remind you of these steps. 1. Check trim. A. Aileron trim. Confirm stick is centered. B. Rudder trim. Confirm that it is set to 0 degrees. C. Elevator trim. Check that it is set to 7.5 degrees nose up. Two. Seat harness. Shoulder harness locked. Click on its handle to adjust. 3. Canopy. Close before moving the aircraft. Use the highlighted lever. 4. Flaps. Confirm that they are retracted for taxiing. 5. Speed brakes. Check that they are in the closed position. Six. Armament. Confirm that all switches are off and the emergency selector is set to the appropriate setting. 7. Spoilers. Check that they are armed for shore operations. 8. Nose wheel steering switch. Check that it is set to normal. This switch is not simulated yet, so it can't be moved. Confirm nose wheel operation by pressing the nose wheel steering button on the HOTAS or using the N key, and use the rudder to steer. Use F2 to check it from the outside view. We will tune the TACAN receiver to the carrier's TACAN station, 7-4 X-ray. First, set the TACAN mode to Transmit Receive, or T/R. To tune to station 74, right-click on the center of the tuning dial until a 4 shows on the bottom of the channel window. Good. Now right-click on the outer part of the tuning dial until a 7 shows on the middle of the channel window for a total display of 0, 7, 4. Finally, adjust the volume knob until you can just hear the TACAN station's Morse code to confirm that it is correctly tuned. The ARC-51 Alpha UHF radio is energized by turning its function switch knob from off to T/R or T/R plus G. With T/R plus G, the separate guard frequency should be monitored in addition to the selected channel or frequency, but this is not simulated in DCS. The radio can be tuned in one of 2 modes. Preset. The mode selector is placed in this position if one of the 20 preset channels that were programmed by the ground crew, meaning in DCS the mission editor, is to be used. Man. Used when the desired frequency is not preset. The mode selector knob is placed in man, and the frequency is set manually using the 3 manual select knobs. For this mission, select man mode, as none of our current presets fits the Stennis ATC frequency. Use the highlighted knob with right or left mouse clicks. Now use the next knob to set the third digit to 5. The visor should display 255.00. Good. Now use the highlighted knob to complete the frequency so that the visor reads 255.75 MHz. Now that we have the radio properly tuned, contact Stennis ATC by pressing the HOTAS push-to-talk button or the / key. Select F5, ATC. Select F1, CVN 74 John C. Stennis. Select F3, Request Startup.
010, request takeoff.
Taxi. We are now ready to taxi. Advance the throttle to about 80%, and once the desired taxi speed is reached, retard the throttle a bit. Taxi slowly, as the deck can be quite cramped. For this mission, we will taxi towards catapult number 3. See the diagram in your briefing. Good. Now turn left and proceed towards the stern of the ship. Now turn right and turn towards the deflector plate of catapult number 4. Good. Now turn right again towards catapult number 3. You are now almost at catapult number 3. Proceed forward and align with the catapult's shuttle. Press the wheel brakes with your rudder pedals or the W key and stop. You are now near enough to the catapult. Press the U key to hook up. The carrier crew will then attach your aircraft to the catapult. Good. Now that you are stopped and properly hooked to the catapult, you should do a manual fuel control check. Press backspace if you want to do it, or spacebar if you want to skip it. 1. Manual fuel control check. A. Throttle 85% RPM while holding wheel brakes. B. Fuel control. Switch to manual while keeping RPM at 85%. C. Fuel control light, check on, and engine indication that switchover has occurred. D. Fuel control, switch to primary while keeping RPM at 85%. E. Fuel control light, check that it goes off, reduce RPM to idle. 2. Check takeoff flaps. They should be set to half flaps. 3. Recheck the attitude gyro, RMI, engine instruments, trim indicators, and flap setting. 4. Ensure drop tank switch is in the pressure position if external fuel is carried, and ensure that the emergency wing transfer switch is off. Launch. We are now ready to launch. Since events will happen rather quickly, let's review the launch procedure. As soon as the aircraft leaves the deck, grasp the stick in its pre-trimmed position and allow the aircraft to rotate to a flyaway attitude with a minimum of fore and aft stick movement. Retract the gear as soon as possible to reduce drag by clicking on its lever or pressing the G key. Avoid any large longitudinal control movements as the aircraft becomes airborne, yet be prepared to make minor attitude corrections as necessary and to correct any aircraft wing drop that may occur. Okay, you're now ready to launch. Increase throttle to maximum power and then wait a few seconds for the catapult to launch your aircraft. In the air, retract the landing gear with the G key or by clicking the highlighted handle. Once a positive rate of climb is established, climb to 500 feet and then fly parallel to the ship's heading, 30 degrees. We are near 170 knots. Retract the flaps using the HOTAS or the F key. Continue straight ahead at 500 feet and 300 knots, paralleling the ship until 7 nautical miles from the carrier. Maintain. You have reached 300 knots. Maintain. You are now at 500 feet. Maintain this altitude until you are 7 miles from the carrier. Your speed is too high. Try to maintain a speed of 300 knots. Your altitude is too high. Try to maintain 500 feet. You are now at 7 nautical miles from the carrier. You may now climb along your planned route and accelerate to cruise speed. Congratulations, you have successfully finished this training mission. On the next mission, we will learn the Case 1 carrier recovery procedure. For now, please exit the training by pressing the Escape key.